watching the Daily Report from wherever you are in the country. Thank you so much for always keeping it TV47. I am Shiksha Arora, your host tonight, and of course I'll be taking you through this comprehensive bulletin with my sign language interpreter, and her name is Catherine Simaloy. Now let's talk about what exactly is going to be happening on the show tonight. In case you're new here, well, we talk about matters environment and sustainability later on, but for now we'll be telling you what's going on when it comes to matters business, when it comes to matters sports, and much more. For now, though, let's take a look at what's going on and the top stories tonight. Tonight on the Daily Report. More allies of Raila appointed as principal secretaries in changes announced in government. Edward Kisiangani among those kicked out as PS. Also tonight, breakfast for 4 million Kenya shillings. Governor Anne Waiguru defends an expenditure of 4 million Kenya shillings to workers.
Wakasema 4 million T. Waambie Governor Waiguru amesema shai.
The governor has no apology to make. Plus, Super Metro buses are still operating despite the license suspension by NTSA. The management says NTSA is yet to serve them. And chiefs and local administration boycott CS Justin Muturi event in Mombasa, but the son of Embu says he is not resigning.
Utajiuzuru kwa kusema ukweli ama kwa nini? Lazima mtu aseme uzungumze ukweli wako pale. Na kama kuna makosa yoyote niko tayari kusimamia na kuyatetea.
All right, welcome back. Now, tonight's top story. Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi has dismissed speculation that he is planning to resign, insisting that his main focus remains ensuring accountability within government. His relationship with the administration came into question after he arrived in Mombasa without the usual reception from regional leaders and security officials. As Quinto Wafula now reports, Muturi is standing his ground despite growing tensions. Take a look.
A spot check by TV47 within Nairobi, it revealed that Super Metro Limited vehicles are still operating despite a suspension of the operating license. The management of the Matatu Sacco insisting its vehicles will continue operating until such a time that the company will be served with proper suspension orders by the National Transport.
All right, we apologize. That particular story is in fact not this one that we just told you about. Of course, just to remind you, the Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi has dismissed speculation that he is planning to resign, insisting that his main focus remains ensuring accountability within government. Now, his relationship with the administration came into question after he arrived in Mombasa without the usual reception from regional leaders and security officials. Now, as Quinto Wafula reports, Muturi is standing his ground despite growing tensions. Here's that story.
Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi arrived at the Kenya School of Government Mombasa campus, accompanied only by the ministry's former Principal Secretary Amos Gatheja. Unlike other government officials, the two were neither escorted nor received by police officers, regional leaders, or senior security officials. A move Muturi downplayed as unsurprising.
Zingine kama tunafanya kazi ya wizara, sio lazima tukue na county commissioners. Surely, watu wako na shughuli zao.
Muturi family stated that he has no intention of stepping down, stressing that his focus is on holding the government accountable and ensuring adherence to constitution to safeguard the rights of all Kenyans. He vowed not to remain silent in the face of wrongdoing within the administration, adding that his resignation would not solve any issues.
Utajiuzuru kwa kusema ukweli ama kwa nini? Lazima mtu aseme uzungumze ukweli wako pale. Na kama kuna makosa yoyote niko tayari kusimamia na kuyatetea vilivyo. hata kama nitakuwa upande gani.
Regarding the pact between President William Ruto and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, which highlighted the need to end abduction, Muturi urged for transparency in addressing the matter to ensure Kenyans can live freely and the nation can progress.
Na mimi nashukuru nafurahia kuona hiyo ni hatua moja labda ya kujaribu resolve ili jambo ambalo mimi nalisimamia.
The CS was in Mombasa to grace the official opening of State Parties Assessment Tool Sensitization Training, where Kenya and Cameroon have been selected to undertake the pilot phase. The initiative seeks to enhance transparency, accountability, and measurable progress in public service delivery across African Union member states. Kinto Wafula, TV47.
Now moving on, the absence of government officials at the handover of the Assistant County Commissioner's office in Mjini Kiharu constituency, Murang'a County, has sparked debate over whether the government is prioritizing service delivery or engaging in political maneuvers. The event held on Wednesday was expected to mark a milestone in local administration, yet it was notably skipped by key officials, including chiefs, the ACC, the CC and police officers. Now, as Mike Kagwongo reports, this comes amid tensions between area MP Ndindi Nyoro and local administrators, despite his commitment to improving infrastructure. Take a look.
Beautiful as it may look from both outside and inside. Since its foundation, the Kiharu Constituency Development Fund has prioritized creating a conducive environment for the Assistant County Commissioner, in contrast to the current offices which appear isolated. The question that has crossed the minds of both Kiharu constituents and Kenyans alike is why County Commissioner, Assistant County Commissioners and Chiefs were notably absent, with local police officers also refraining from attending the handover ceremony. It remains unclear whether the anticipated official, who has supported the establishment of the project since its inception, will occupy the premises, as the offices remained empty on Thursday despite their state-of-the-art appearance and comfort. Area residents seeking administrative services were met with closed doors as chiefs continued to operate from their dilapidated usual offices.
Ni walitoe basi hapa. Ya nini basi wanajenga na hawaji mpaka saizi hakuna ule amefika? Ni huzuni mkubwa sana. Si hapa Murang'a peke yake, kwa taifa zima na dunia nzima.
Reports indicate that Murang'a leaders had warned local administrators against attending the event, shedding light on the long-standing disputes that continue to influence political realignments within the Mount Kenya region.
I have their photos.
This is related to Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro, whose recent expulsion from the Budget and Appropriations Committee has raised concerns about his waning influence within the Kenya Kwanza regime. However, during the launch of a multi-purpose hall named in honor of former Kiharu MPs for their service at Kahatia Secondary School on Thursday, the local administration attended alongside the embattled MP, revealing their fluctuating relationship.
All our major projects, we are going to make sure we name all our former MPs to at least a Go Big project.
Regardless of political affiliations, the people of Kiharu expressed that they fully deserve functioning administrative offices. The project initiated by NGCDF aims to improve service delivery and is expected to receive support from all leaders, irrespective of their political differences. Mike Kagwongo, TV47.
Now, Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru has defended the payment of 4 million shillings in allowances to revenue collection clerks, stating that the incentives played a key role in boosting the county's revenue. She explained that the lunch and breakfast allowances paid during the 2023-2024 financial year motivated market revenue collectors and contributed to increased collections. The county's revenue reportedly rose from 300 million shillings, with Waiguru attributing the growth to the incentives, as Ruga Eval now reports.
Governor Anne Waiguru is defending her decision to purchase tea worth 4 million shillings. The governor now claiming that the purchase helped boost Kirinyaga County's revenue, increasing it from 300 million shillings to 700 million. And without this purchase, she argues the county would not have been able to grow its revenue.
Na nataka runinga, please piga hiyo, niseme na Kikuyu ndio museme vizuri. Waambie Governor Waiguru amesema shai.
Speaking at the county headquarters during the launch of a national government digital health project, Governor Waiguru addressed the tea purchase, stating it played a crucial role in motivating the county's revenue collectors, whose salaries, she notes, are relatively low.
And we must be fair to our staff. I look at them, I tell them, sijui nifanya nini. I would like to increase your salaries, lakini SRC imenifunga mikono.
Kirinyaga County had received an allocation of 7.2 billion shillings for the 2023-2024 financial year, with the tea allocation raising concerns from the Senate Budget Committee, whose members questioned the governor's priorities in distributing county funds. Governor Waiguru later clarified that the tea purchase was part of compensation received for the financial year 2023-2024. She has assured that her administration would continue to prioritize development and service delivery to fulfill the promises made to the people of Kirinyaga.
So if I'm spending 4 million shillings for 12 months for me to reach my targets, you know our markets, how they operate. Surely, if you're going to keep people until 10 p.m. at night, the least you can do is give them a little allowance.
Ruga Evil, TV47.
Now moving on, more allies of ODM leader Raila Odinga have landed top government jobs following a shake-up announced by President William Ruto this afternoon. Among those nominated as principal secretaries are former Nyeri Deputy Governor Caroline Karugu, former ODM Elections Board Chairperson Judith Pareno, and Dr. Ouma Oluga. Meanwhile, 6 principal secretaries have been reassigned and Professor Edward Kisiangani has been dropped as PS for Broadcasting and Digital Economy. Now, as Elizabeth Mutuku reports, these changes mark a significant shift in government appointments.
In what appears to be a broader government, more allies of ODM boss Raila Odinga have been nominated into the broad-based government. In the changes by President William Ruto, Amos Gathecha has been promoted to the position of Deputy Head of Public Service, and after days of back and forth with media, Professor Edward Kisiangani was axed from the Ministry of Broadcasting and Digital Economy. This comes on a day the High Court ruled that the government decision to channel all advertisements exclusively through the Kenya Broadcasting Corporations is unconstitutional. 6 principal secretaries have been reassigned in the changes, among them Dr. Belio Kipsang, who was moved to the Ministry of Interior. In the Department of Immigrations, Dr. Harry Kimutai from the Ministry of Health to Mining, and Dr. Julius Bitok, who will now serve as the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education. In the changes, more allies of ODM boss Raila Odinga have been nominated as Principal Secretaries, among them former Nyeri Deputy Governor Dr. Caroline Karugu, former ODM Election Board Chairperson Judith Pareno, and Dr. Ouma Oluga as Principal Secretary in the Health Ministry. Others include Cyril Odede, Regina Akoth, Hamed Ibrahim, Boniface Mokoa, Professor Abdurazak Shaukat, Stephen Isiboke, Michael Lenasalon, Fikirini Kahindi, and Karen Agengo Acheng. Others are Teresia Mbaika to the Ministry of Roads and Transport, Ismail Madi to the Ministry of Public Service, and Elijah Mwangi to the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports from the Ministry of Mining. Former Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumicha has been nominated to the UN Habitat as a permanent representative. Engineer Peter Tum has been nominated from the Ministry of Sports as PS and nominated as ambassador in the Democratic Republic of Congo, while former Treasury PS James Muhati was nominated as the Consul General in China. Others in the foreign assignments include Abdi Dubat to Tanzania, Alfred K. Obundo to Brussels, Belgium, and Geoffrey Kaituko to Rome, Italy.
Now, President William Ruto has this afternoon held a consultative meeting with a section of MPs from the Mount Kenya region at State House, Nairobi, ahead of his much-anticipated tour of the region. Now, according to sources in this meeting, President William Ruto will tour the Mount Kenya region early April, with details of his itinerary expected to be firmed up next week. The State House meeting, also attended by Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, also discussed the progress on the region's key, among them coffee, tea and dairy farming infrastructure, affordable housing projects and produce markets, among others. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's allies did not attend the State House meeting. Meanwhile, Nakuru Governor Susan Kihika has been missing from public engagements for the past 4 months, sparking intense debate among residents and on various forums, including social media. Her prolonged absence has led concerned residents to petition the County Assembly demanding full disclosure of her whereabouts. Speculation suggests that she may be on maternity leave, but the county government is yet to issue an official statement. Chichi Josephine now reports.
Even after Nakuru Governor Susan Kihika broke her silence on the question of our whereabouts, Nakuru residents are still demanding more from the governor.
We must come together as a house.
In a letter dated January 17 and signed by Nakuru County Chief of Staff Peter Ketienye, the governor stated, and I quote, "Following numerous calls that I've received regarding my absence as the elected governor of Nakuru County, I want to first of all assure the people of Nakuru that I am well and currently on maternity leave." End of quote. However, her 4 months absence has raised a concern by Nakuru residents, eliciting reactions. A section of residents moved to the County Assembly of Nakuru to file a petition before the Assembly demanding full disclosure of the governor's whereabouts.
We are exercising Article 15 of the County Governments Act of 2012, whereby we can publicly petition things in regards to the public matters and specifically the absence of one Governor Kihika Susan.
And that was not all. The residents demanded clarification on 7 issues, among them a full disclosure of the governor's whereabouts, clarification on who is running the county, assurance of effective leadership, accountability for Brian Odhiambo and Baby Mercy cases, transparency on foreign travel, public address or town hall meeting with the governor, and finally, timeline for response of the petition from the County Assembly.
This is a clear indication that Nakuru residents are lacking leadership.
Amid the heated debate, Nakuru Town West Member of Parliament Samuel Arama has boldly defended the governor, confirming that she is on maternity leave and should be respected for the same.
Mama ameenda maternity leave ya 6 months. Na tumuombe kwa sababu hata amezaa juzi. Hiyo ni mzuri, sio ni maendeleo. Msianze kuuliza alienda kusalia wapi. Kwa sababu hiyo inakuhusu nini?
Nakuru County Secretary Samuel Mora, speaking to TV47 in Nakuru, addressed the petition by the residents, saying it has been made clear to the public on who runs the county in the governor's absence.
It is very clear, and as it is in law, that His Excellency the Deputy Governor, His Excellency David Connes, is in charge, and I think that is very clear. The governor did clarify that when she issued that communication.
Mora, however, assured residents that the government is committed to ensuring justice in the Brian Odhiambo's case and that of Baby Mercy.
Her Excellency has told us to provide maximum support to the family and to the community. So should there be any need for support from the county government, that will be available.
Chichi Josephine, TV47, Nakuru.
Now, Nairobi's popular Super Metro Matatu Sacco continued operating despite the suspension of its operating license by the National Transport and Safety Authority, that's NTSA, over non-compliance with public service vehicle regulations. Even with the directive for traffic police to impound vehicles found operating contrary to the suspension, Super Metro defied the order, citing that they had not been officially served and had only learned of the suspension via social media. Moige William now reports.
A spot check by TV47 within Nairobi, it revealed that Super Metro Limited vehicles are still operating despite a suspension of the operating license. The management of the Matatu Sacco insisting its vehicles will continue operating until such a time that the company will be served with proper suspension orders by the National Transport and Safety Authority. According to Nelson Mwangi, who chairs the Sacco of the Nairobi Public Transport Operator, they had learned about the suspension of their license on social media and they had not received any official communication from the regulator.
So I would urge the DIG police not to detain any Super Metro vehicle that is on the road right now. Kwa sababu kunafaa kuwa na notice. Kuna Super Metro bus ilikuwa maybe on hire, ilikuwa inaenda mahali. Sasa inafaa isimame mahali iko.
In a statement, NTSA said that the Sacco's license will remain suspended until the company fully complies with the Public Service Vehicles Regulations of 2014 and other set conditions, further cautioning members of the public against boarding vehicles belonging to Super Metro Limited, noting that the Traffic Department will impound its vehicles if they are found operating contrary to the suspension. The decision, NTSA says, was informed after comprehensive analysis of the company's operations, which unearthed several contraventions of the law. Where out of 523 vehicles the company is operating, 15 vehicles were found to have expired inspection certificates, while 8 had expired road service licenses. The public transport regulator also found that 5 vehicles belonging to Super Metro had expired speed limiter certificates, 88 vehicles were not transmitting speed data, 171 vehicles had no speed limiter records, 7 vehicles had no speed limiter vendor details, while 109 vehicles were operating beyond the speed limit of 80 kilometers per hour. The authority has outlined that the company must meet a raft of conditions which include presenting the 294 vehicles with varying violations for compliance inspection, present 42 drivers out of the 109 drivers with speed violations for retest, fire unqualified drivers among others for its operating license to be restored. The suspension of the Super Metro's operation license comes days after a man succumbed to injuries after allegedly being thrown out of a moving Super Metro-owned vehicle, with the operators now decrying unfair treatment by the regulator. Moige William, TV47.
Now, the crisis in Kenya's health sector continues to escalate as healthcare workers persist with a nationwide strike, leaving thousands of patients without medical attention. Some striking workers accuse Health Cabinet Secretary Deborah Barasa of ignoring their demands despite repeated calls for intervention. And as Anastasia Mukabi reports, the situation remains dire with no clear resolution in sight.
Approximately 800 nurses at Moi Teaching Referral Hospital are on strike, demanding that the government addresses their grievances.
Wanaumia kwa sababu hakuna muuguzi wako ndani na wenye wako ndani ni wanafunzi.
Apologies for that. That's a technical error. We shall try and get that sorted. But as we do that, let's continue with the next stories right here. Now, Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru is urging the government to reconsider the 9th of the month deadline for remitting Social Health Authority, that's SHA, deductions, citing delays in exchequer disbursements. Now, speaking during the launch of Kirinyaga's Health Services Digitization Initiative, Waiguru warned that many county employees have been locked out of health coverage due to late remittances. Kirinyaga now becomes the 3rd county after Mombasa and Embu to digitize its healthcare system under Taifa Care.
You choose a facility, you go to the facility, and
I am told that my staff, that when we pay late, my staff are not able to get medical care because we paid after 9th. Now we live in the same country. We live in the same government. Surely you know the reason why I haven't paid. Pesa haijakuja ya February, exchequer. Sindio? See, so Waziri Moses anasema watanifulizia. If you could change that policy, so long as we pay, you understand? Because whenever the money comes, we will pay salaries, we will deduct, and we will pay. So long as we pay, even if it has come after 9th, please find in your system something to accommodate our late payments. Because our late payments is because of delayed exchequer. Yes. If the national government has not released money to counties, counties will not be able to pay on time.
Now, the Kenya National Qualifications Authority, that's KNQA, has launched a 14-day nationwide public participation exercise on the proposed Kenya National Qualifications Framework, that's KNQF, regulations for 2025. Now, at Mount Kenya University, the KNQA CEO, Alice Kande, emphasized that the new framework seeks to standardize and harmonize qualifications across all education and training sectors. She also highlighted that the initiative aims to curb the rise of fake academic certificates. As Anastasia Mukabina reports, KNQA is urging stakeholders to engage in the process and provide feedback on the proposed reforms.
It is the reform that the National Qualifications Framework came in to address to ensure that there is no wastage of knowledge. Any knowledge that one has acquired is well provided for and mapped in the framework, for as long as we are able to articulate on who and where is that offered. And that then gets to the institutions that are legally mandated to train, assess, and award, so that once they award, as the Kenya National Qualifications Authority, we register those qualifications in the National Qualifications Database. Centrally, as Kenya National Qualifications Authority, we are able to have and register those qualifications, so we are able to verify from all levels of education and training and say that yes, all those levels are duly accredited and the certificate is as authentic or is not authentic.
Forum has really been engaged a lot, enlightened, and through this public participation, I've learned that the whole thing starts from the early years, that is 4 years old, up to the highest level of education. And we are here to give our views in terms of the alignment of education system in the country. At our level, it's basically what we are giving.
All right, and with that, it's time for us to take a short break. Remember, you can always engage with us on social media. That's at TV47 Kenya. That's on X as well as on Instagram and Facebook. Tell us where you're watching live. I will be airing some of your comments. And of course, just letting you know that we see you. Apart from that, if you're wondering what's coming up next, so we've got a whole lot of stories lined up from sports. By the way, WRC is officially here. This is the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be an action-packed weekend in Naivasha. So make sure that you follow all the updates on social media. We'll be posting everything. Aside from that, we'll also be telling you what's happening when it comes to matters business. So make sure you don't go anywhere. Coming up after the break, WRC is here. President William Ruto flags off the 2025 WRC Safari Rally at KICC, Nairobi. Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's mind. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create.
Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50 going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Thank you so much for always keeping it TV47. Remember, I told you can find us on social media. So in case you're watching us on YouTube, it's at TV47 Kenya. I've got some messages coming in from David Tairu, who says, Jambo Kenya. Duncan Jumbi, who says, lovely, watching from Umoja 1 Eastlands, as well as James, who says, watching from Kitui. And lastly, my parents are also tuned in. So Mr. and Mrs. Anil Arora and Simi Arora, thank you so much for always keeping it locked right here on the Daily Report. Now let's get right back into this live broadcast, where tension remains high in Baringo County following a banditry attack on Thursday morning in Laruk in Baringo County. Now the incident has left the local residents in panic following the deteriorating security situation in Baringo. Samira Mohammed with the details.
Just 2 days following a banditry attack in Laruk in Baringo County. An attack that left 1 dead and scores injured. Tension remains high in the area following a fresh banditry attack on Thursday morning.
Our security team, which was on standby, managed to repulse the bandits.
Mimi nimekuja kuwapatia notice. Regesha silaha mara moja. Usiporegesha, tumeanza kufanya kitu inaitwa profiling.
The incident has sparked tension in the area, with local residents decrying the deteriorating security situation in the area. This being the third banditry attack in the month of March.
No matter how many police officers will be brought, this menace will continue, and we will continue losing our brothers.
Following today's banditry attack, police engaged the bandits in a fire shutout and overpowered them, recovering all goats and cows stolen by the heavily armed bandits.
We managed to recover a number of animals, 275 flocks of sheep and goats. We also managed to recover 30 heads of cattle, and our patrols are ongoing. And we assure members of the public that the security team, the multi-agency security team, is on standby.
Samira Mohammed for TV47, Nairobi.
Right, welcome back. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the world of business, where the Cooperative Bank of Kenya has recorded a 9.8% growth in net profit, reporting shillings 25.5 billion for the financial year 2024, an increase from the 23.2 billion shillings in 2023. Now, this performance reflects a growth of 9.8% in net profit after tax, rising from 23.2 billion shillings in 2023 to 25.5 billion shillings in 2024. Following this strong financial performance, the bank's board of directors has recommended a dividend of 1.50 shillings per share, subject to approval during the annual general meeting scheduled for 16th of May. The improved results were driven by a 13.9% increase in net interest income, which rose from 45.2 billion shillings to 51.5 billion shillings. Additionally, total non-interest income grew by 10% from 26.5 billion shillings to 29.1 billion shillings. Total operating income increased by 12.5%, climbing from 71.7 billion shillings to 80.6 billion shillings, despite a 17.7% rise that is in income, which grew from 39.7 billion shillings to 46.7 billion shillings. The bank's total assets also expanded, reaching 743.2 billion shillings, a 10.7% growth from 671.1 billion shillings in 2023. Shareholders' funds rose significantly by 28% to 145.4 billion shillings, driven by retained earnings, growth of 16.7 billion shillings. Now moving on, Absa Bank Kenya PLC has posted a 28% increase in net earnings, reaching 20.9 billion shillings for the financial year ending December 31st, 2024. The bank also announced a dividend payout of 9.5 billion shillings, marking a 13% rise from the previous year. Absa expanded its lending portfolio, issuing 180 billion shillings in new loans to key sectors such as manufacturing and renewable energy. Customer deposits rose to 367 billion shillings, indicating growing confidence in the bank. Meanwhile, total revenue grew by 14% to 62.3 billion shillings, driven by a strong performance in both funded and non-funded income streams.
180 billion of new lending. That shows our commitment to the market. And as Yusuf said, we expect, it's a natural outcome of what's happening in the interest rate environment, that we will see more lending, not just in our bank, but in the industry as a whole. And that's a good thing for the economy. and we look forward to that.
We've continued to play a big role in that area. We disbursed in the region of 47 billion shillings in that space. We continue to support key players in our marketplace. And as we all know, SMEs are really the engine that drives our economy. And we continue to play a bigger role in that segment.
Now, the Public Service Superannuation Fund, PSSF, has expressed confidence in the continued growth of its value base as more permanent and pensionable employees enroll in the scheme. PSSF CEO Dr. Jona Ayabe reports that the fund has now reached 142 billion shillings. He attributes the fund's expansion to a solid investment strategy aimed at maximizing returns.
A challenge that comes in is the investment opportunities. Is our economy big enough to absorb these investable assets? Now, because of this challenge, it calls on the practitioners in the capital market space and also the players in this space, even the pension funds themselves, that we need to be very, very innovative and come up with new products or products that can actually attract proper investments for pension funds.
Now, Kenya Breweries Limited, that's KBL, has signed a 54 million shillings partnership deal with the Upper Tana Nairobi Water Fund Trust, that's UTNWF Trust, to support water conservation efforts at the Upper Tana watershed. The investment aims to mitigate systemic water risks, improve water accessibility, and enhance resilience in the Tana River Basin. This collaboration builds on KBL's previous investments in water conservation, including 190 million shillings allocated in 2024 for Upper Tana watershed conservation. Additionally, KBL has invested over 850 million shillings in water recovery plants at its Nairobi and Kisumu facilities, with a combined capacity to recover 1,968 cubic meters of water daily.
We are pioneering grain to glass sustainability. We have done borehole projects. We are doing tree planting initiatives to protect water catchment areas. And since 2017, we have completed over 100 water projects, providing safe drinking water to more than 2 million people across East Africa. Through our collective action partnership with the Upper Tana Water Fund Trust, we have joined up efforts with several other private sector organizations and the government to conserve water and the environment in Upper Tana watershed.
This rapid urbanization has huge implications for water use and wastewater management in the country's cities, which already faces rising water and sanitation demands and problems such as pollution and over-exploitation. As Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company, we are taking a proactive approach to ensure that today's and the future's needs for water in the country capital, Nairobi, are well taken care of.
And lastly, the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development is reviewing existing policies to enhance efficiency and sustainability in the sector. Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe met with board chairpersons and CEOs of institutions under the ministry in Malindi, Kilifi County. The discussions focused on refocusing efforts on farmers by integrating technology and developing sustainable agricultural solutions for the future.
The international market much better than the previous farmers did. There are now youth who have taken over family farms, that are now engaged in direct sales with their colleagues overseas who they have met through the internet. So it's a whole new ball game. And agriculture is not going to fall behind in this technology space. We are going to be part of that future, because if we are in that future, then people can go about their businesses in Kenya feeling happy about the fact that they have got enough food. I think it has been said before, and I want to repeat here, it is because of the farmer that even you in the media
All right, and with that, it's time for us to get sporty. So it's time to take a look at what's happening in the world of sports.
Sports news brought to you by Maybet. Join Maybet leo upate free bet papo hapo. Fanya hivi, chagua home team to win, yani number 1 au draw X au away team 2 kwa game ya siku ya free bet. Weka namba yako ya simu, weka password ya account yako. Chagua submit free bet. Utapata free bet kwa account yako ya Maybet. Usisahau kuverify account yako. Kama hutakuwa verified, utapoteza free bet yako after 2 days. Betting is strictly for 18 years and over. Play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply. BCLB number 0000578.
Maybet na minia na najishindia. Pesa inavutia,
All right, now the WRC Safari Rally Championships officially zoomed off on Thursday morning after President William Ruto officially flagged off the event at the City Hall in Nairobi. The event is scheduled to take part until Sunday, with tomorrow's action including a challenging 32-kilometer stretch in Stage 3 at Camp Moran. TV47, Radio 47 and TV47 Digital will be bringing to you all the action in Nairobi and Naivasha, as our reporter Alan Nzuki now explains.
2, 1, and off they go.
2025 edition of the WRC Safari Rally was officially flagged off today at City Hall, Nairobi, by the head of state, William Ruto.
Rains in Naivasha are a blessing, and we appreciate and anticipate that the 2025 WRC Safari Rally will be one of the toughest, yet one of the most exciting editions ever.
There's an inspiration of the growth of the motorsport in our country, which has really made Kenya, the rally capital of Africa.
Over 50 drivers from 20 different countries are participating in the showdown, including African champion Karan Patel, Nikhil Sachania, Tinashi Gatimu and Karan Patel, were all sponsored by KCB.
An entity like KCB has spent 2 billion shillings since 2003 to keep rally going in this country. And this year, we are sponsoring 4 drivers. Your Excellency, the mother that you took a photo with, actually sponsored by KCB.
This year's showpiece is graced by Kenyans Tinashi Gatimu and Caroline Gatimu, who were the only mother-daughter duo in this year's extravaganza.
Our local drivers, led by the 21-year-old Tinashe Gatimu, the entire country is rallying behind you. We will be cheering you on and go make Kenya proud.
We are really keen on empowering women to break barriers in their different spaces and fields. And we are very excited this year, and we are hoping that more women rally drivers are going to be encouraged to participate in next year's rally so that we have more women-led teams.
The cars zoomed off the Nairobi City Hall one after the other, heading towards the super special Kasarani stage, where the drivers showed off their impressive car handling skills in the muddy terrain. Thousands of motorsport fans from across East Africa descended on Kenya for day one of the action-packed 2025 World Rally Championship.
Ni wakubwa kutoka mataifa mbalimbali huko duniani. Kwa hiyo ni wakati murua kabisa, ni wasaa mkubwa kabisa wa kuweza kuenjoy na kuweza kuona madereva wetu, na hata pia Mexico Kenya wameendelea kutufanyia vitu vikubwa sana kuweza kutushawishi hadi kuja kuangalia mashindano kama haya, na sisi tumekuja Watanzania wengi zaidi ya 50, zaidi ni wengi sana katika mabasi kwa ajili ya kuangalia hii show.
To Kenya has been amazing, we have come from, we've come by road, so that gives you a full experience of what's going on, and it's been a very, very beautiful experience. And the food is amazing, the culture is good. I could not say that the culture is as amazing as it is, but basing on what I've seen, I feel like everything has been amazing so far.
Afterwards, the cars took off for Naivasha, with the action expected to continue tomorrow in Nakuru County, which includes a 32-kilometer stretch of Camp Moran before coming to a conclusion on Sunday at Hell's Gate in Naivasha. Those were the scenes today in day one of the WRC Safari Rally that is set to take place all the way up to Sunday. The action continues tomorrow in Naivasha, Nakuru County. Zuki Allen, TV47 Sports.
I'm super excited to see who emerges as the champion this year of the WRC Safari Rally in Kenya. We'll find out, and of course, make sure you keep it right here on TV47 as well as Radio 47, because we'll be having all those updates. Now, the Victory Cup kicked off with a thrilling start as Kenya and Uganda faced off in the opening rounds of competition. The format for day one featured both foursomes and four-ball matches, showcasing the best of team golf. The morning session saw Team Kenya dominate the foursomes format, winning 3 out of 4 matches and securing a total of 3 points. Uganda, however, showed resilience by clinching 1 point in a hard-fought match in the afternoon session. Uganda bounced back strongly, winning 3 out of 4 matches and managing to halve the 4th match, earning an additional 3.5 points. After day one, Uganda leads with a total of 4.5 points, while Kenya trails with 3.5 points.
Coming in the afternoon, things didn't turn as we expected, but we are coming in stronger. As a captain, my duty is to make sure the team is on the right track and on the right mindset. I just want to promise we are coming in stronger, and yeah, we're still having eyes on that trophy.
It's been something wonderful for us for the afternoon because we've made 4 out of 4. It's been a great comeback from my boys and the players. I think the strategy, we tried to change about our game plans and said we have to attack these guys head on and be strong. Because in the morning we were a little bit loose somewhere. As you know, we are not always good in foursomes, but we are good on better ball. So the results have changed. And going into tomorrow, we're going to be strong and better because the mission is to win the Victoria Cup for the first time outside Uganda.
Now, Kirsty Coventry has made history by becoming the first woman and first African to be elected as president of the International Olympic Committee in 130 years. The Zimbabwean secured victory in just 1 round of voting, bagging 49 out of 97 votes to succeed Thomas Bach. Coventry outpaced Spain's Juan Antonio Samaranch Jr., who secured 28 votes, while Britain's Sebastian Coe, once considered a front-runner, came in third with only 8 votes. Other contenders included Frenchman David Lapartien, Jordan's Prince Faisal, Swedish-born Johan Eliash, and Japan's Morinari Watanabe. Coventry will now officially assume office on 23rd of June for an 8-year term.
The 10th President of the International Olympic Committee, Mrs. Kirsty Coventry.
This is an extraordinary moment. As a 9-year-old girl, I never thought that I would be standing up here one day, getting to give back to this incredible movement of ours. This is not just a huge honor, but it is a reminder of my commitment to every single one of you, that I will lead this organization with so much pride, with the values at the core, and I will make all of you very, very proud and hopefully extremely confident in the decision that you've taken today.
Massive congratulations to her, especially because this victory comes in March, where we are celebrating women all through the month. It is Women's International Day that happened a few weeks ago, 2 weeks rather, and now it's Women Internationals Month. So yeah, make sure that you keep it locked because we're going to get to know what work she does when it comes to the Olympics. Now, Kenya's national football team, Harambee Stars, will take on Gambia tonight at 10 p.m. in a crucial FIFA World Cup qualifier at Stade Olympique Alassane Ouattara in Abidjan. Now, coach Benny McCarthy's squad currently sits fourth in Group F and must win all remaining fixtures to keep their qualification hopes alive after facing Gambia. Harambee Stars will return to Nairobi for a decisive match against Gabon at Nyayo National Stadium on Sunday, March 23rd.
Sports news brought to you by Maybets. Join Maybets leo upate free bet papo hapo. Fanya hivi, chagua home team to win, yani number 1 au draw X au away team 2 kwa game ya siku ya free bet. Weka namba yako ya simu, weka password ya account yako. Chagua submit free bet. Utapata free bet kwa account yako ya Maybets. Usisahau kuverify account yako. Kama hutakuwa verified, utapoteza free bet yako after 2 days. Betting is strictly for 18 years and over. Play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply. BCLB number 000578.
Maybet na minia na najishindia. Pesa inavutia.
Right, now let's get to our main segment of the night that's called Green Fix, and we're going to be starting off with matters sustainability as well as what is known as glass recycling. Now, in case you want to know more about this, well, you need to keep it right here as we'll be giving you that very interesting conversation that I had with Nelly Gisare, who is from Green Thing Kenya, and they focus on matters glass recycling. Our question tonight on The Big Why is very simple. It is, how do you dispose of glass? How do you dispose of glass bottles? Well, talk to us. Tell us exactly what you think the answer is. Personally, from your opinion, what do you think is the right way to dispose glass? What do you do? Do you know the right way to do it? Do you just put it in the bin and forget what happens after that, or not really know where it goes after? Well, we want to hear from you. Please find us on social media. That's at TV47 Kenya on Facebook, on X, as well as on YouTube. You can also WhatsApp us alternatively. I'm sure the number is going to be on the screen at some point. So make sure you WhatsApp us on that number as well as SMS us as well. So the question tonight is very simple. On The Big Why, we're asking, how do you dispose of glass bottles? Do let us know as we get into matters recycling, matters sustainability, and all things Green Fix. Coming up after the break, how do you dispose of glass bottles? We have the details on Green Fix tonight. Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste.
Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50 going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Now let's get into matters Green Warriors. So tonight our Green Warrior is Nelly Gesare, who is a conservationist, and she focuses on recycling. When it comes to matters glass recycling, she's an expert. She's been doing this for the last 6 years. So we're going to hear from her and what exactly Green Thing Kenya does, that's the name of a company, and how, you know, it is when it comes to this conservation space, when it comes to recycling, what exactly the challenges are. So she gave us a breakdown and an insight into her life. Let's take a look at that. Now today on the show on Green Warriors, we will be featuring a very phenomenal young lady. Her name is Nelly Gesare, and she is the founder of Green Thing. Founded 6 years ago back in 2019, it has been recycling glass, and it's actually providing a solution to the glass pollution in the country. For example, this particular glass, as you see, well, this is recycled, but what if you go and buy a glass from the supermarket, from the shops? What happens to it after you're done using it? Where does it go? Well, that's a question that we will get answered on today's show, and of course she'll be telling us why exactly glass recycling is extremely important. In case you didn't know, well, glass is actually adding to the carbon footprint because of the melting process, and it actually emits greenhouse gases. So these are things that we'll be discussing at length. So let's get right into it. Once again, this right here is a product of the glass recycling. How beautiful is it? Well, let's get right to the lady of tonight, and she'll be telling us more about this particular glass recycling process and her company.
Hi, my name is Nelly Gesare, and I'm the founder of Green Thing.
I'm sitting with the founder of Green Thing. Her name is Nelly Gesare, and she's going to be talking to us about how important it is to have a business here in Kenya, but not just any kind of business, a business that focuses on sustainability and recycling. So let's get right into it. Hi Nelly, how are you today?
Hi Shiksha. It's good to have you guys here.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be here. What a wonderful workshop.
Karibu.
I mean, I'm looking at all the things that you're doing, and it's just phenomenal.
It was about time to have a sort of business that demonstrate what we need to do in terms of sustainability, but also waste management. And to see Green Thing turning from just an idea, a TV show, and now a brand that sells, manufactures and sells products.
It's a whole full circle for you, because like coming from just an idea of a TV show to now getting interviewed by a TV show that also focuses on sustainability. It's amazing because now we're interviewing you.
Yeah.
And we're passing your message on to the world to see about all the great things that you're doing. So Nelly, 6 years, this business idea has been, you said even longer than 6 years, since?
Even the name, Green Thing, was supposed to be a TV show. I had produced a TV series, 2 seasons, to showcase what sustainability means, to showcase how to live a life of dignity within planetary boundaries. And at that time, climate change lingo, sustainability lingo was so elitist. Yeah. It was for specific people. I remember even when I was interviewing a few people, even for the pilot project, people were asking, do you work for the UN? Do you work for the UN? I'm thinking, no, it's actually not just for the UN to keep the environment clean. Yeah.
Amazing. Nelly, let's talk about the fact that we focus so much on plastic pollution, right? Almost all the information out there, almost all the conversations that we're seeing is mostly to do with plastic pollution, but we don't really know much about glass pollution. Why is that so?
I think journalists need to amplify voices. Yeah. I think storytelling is the power that we need to actually show people that change is possible, and it starts with you. Not just the big manufacturers, but the small actions that you take in your house. Let me take you a little bit back. I say that I started Green Thing because I felt climate change, environmental, sustainability lingo was so elitist. Yes. Even the research that was done, it was not created in a language that is palatable for people to take action on. No. Yeah. Even the words that are still used today.
Yeah, like some of the jargon that you hear, at times, if you are somebody who is outside of the industry, you have no clue of what sustainability is, and you don't really understand the phenomenon behind climate change, you can get very confused and lost. It's a lot of information.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we really need to come up with a way to package the challenge, but also the solution, so that people can take action. So, as I was saying, so Green Thing was supposed to be a TV show. It was not possible at that time, and I agree. Now that I look back, I think it was too early. Yes. There wasn't enough product, there wasn't enough innovation, there wasn't enough awareness.
You were ahead of the game, you were ahead of your time.
So I purposely came to Nairobi in 2009 to be a journalist.
Wow.
So I was very, very, very committed to creating stories. I remember my pilot was in Dandora dump site. It wasn't as big or as nasty as it is right now, but it was there. In 2015, I realized I'm not going to make any sense of this. So I went back to work because apparently people have to eat
of course.
And clothe themselves. And I have children. At that time, I only had one child. So school fees was also waiting. And 2019, I decided to now curate the product or the new way of creating things that enable us to start conversations on sustainability.
Okay.
And that's when Green Thing was born. I remember even the name, I was thinking of using my nickname to name it, but I thought, look, this is bigger than me. There's no way I'm going to name it after me. So Green Thing then became, and I've always said this, I'm not selling products. I am first a journalist before a business person. The products we make from upcycled textile, from waste, and then the glass that we blow, they are all meant to start conversations on what you and I and bigger corporations can do.
Yeah, definitely. And it's brilliant to see that you are actually able to make this happen now 6 years down the line. So Nelly, maybe you can take us to some of the challenges that you've experienced in this entrepreneurship journey, because the truth is that as an entrepreneur, you also said you're a mom, you need to provide for your family. You need to be able to put food on the table. And we do know that sometimes when it comes to an innovative idea that's quite unique, it's very difficult to break through the market, especially when there's monopolies involved. As we know, glass production is something that we've been seeing for 30 years. We know that there is a monopoly, and now you're in this very cutthroat kind of market. So for you, what have been some of the biggest challenges to try and penetrate the market and also try and, make a profit?
There's so many challenges, given that I started way too early. And the first one is, of course, the policies around the products that we make, recycling. There are not enough policies to enable us to decarbonize the economy or decarbonize our home. Okay. There's not enough policies to create a leeway. For any action to be taken, the first thing, of course, is always infrastructure, from the policies, the machines, the people. That is required. When I was starting, there were not so many people. I remember when I started, I didn't have the capital to start. And I started Green Thing with 8,000 Kenyan shillings, and this was the lowest point of our lives. My daughter had been operated, we had spent cash because insurance is also not an easy thing. So we were literally hand to mouth. I remember I would sell straws and buy food. I would sell straws and then make sure that there's still something remaining to return more straws and then go to the next product. Because if the show didn't work, surely the products must work. So the second challenge from that is access to capital. Not just financial capital. Sometimes you actually need somebody who's been in that space to guide you on how to set up a business. I don't have any training on business. I think my best training on business is running my father's shop when we were off boarding school. That's my best knowledge. So it would have been wonderful if we would have had somebody to hold my hand and show me, Nelly, this is how you set up a pitch deck. This is the type of investors that would look into your thing. Focus on the first 5 products, something like that. And then secondly, finance.
Yeah.
The quality of finance that a lot of women in business are given is substandard, which I think at some point stresses people so that they're managing a grant versus trying to create impact.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then globally, I think now we know that there's only 3% of venture capital accessible to women-run businesses. And for women in sustainability, it's less than 1%. That is so little. And so up to date, Green Thing has never gotten any funding. And we've organically grown to 12 full-time employees.
Wow.
And we have a solar-powered stitching station, so upcycling textile. We have a glass blowing studio where we work with Dandora women waste pickers to get the glass. And then we have wonderful blowers who blow the glass into beautiful, beautiful things.
Amazing, that's brilliant. Nani, you know, you've mentioned Dandora, and I want to talk about that because Dandora dump site is obviously the one, if not the biggest, but one of the biggest dump sites in the country. And the fact that it receives around, well, at least 2,000 tons of waste every single day. And that's something that you have to deal with. You know, you have to go out there and work with the women and try and be able to collect the waste and then come back and make something out of it and recycle it, right? Why do you think there is this problem that we are seeing in Kenya of the overflow of waste? And do you think it's getting worse by the day, or do you think it's something that now there is more information about, so we're kind of managing the current state of affairs?
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of fads.
Yeah.
But sustainability becoming fashionable, I think it's a benevolent fad. One of the most beautiful things that I have seen because of sustainability becoming popular is now officially bringing waste pickers to the table. We need to do it more, but I'm so happy to see waste pickers as part of the conversation. Okay. And that's why I was very, very particular. If you're going to do glass, we must actually buy from the people that make recycling in Kenya make sense. Okay. In the last few years, we haven't had any policies or any law gazetted that makes it obvious that a waste picker is as important as a recycler. Yeah. And now with the Sustainable Waste Management Act 2022, that is official now. So that's really, really good. However, Dandora dump site has been full for the last 20 years. Wow. It was supposed to be holding, it was supposed to be a makeshift place to it was supposed to be temporary. It was supposed to be temporary.
Been there for as long as we know.
Yeah. And now it's 20 years too late. We have families there, we have schools there. It's a whole ecosystem, it's a whole country. Yeah. And I don't think we're just going to uproot it overnight. For now, it's creating a system of how do we make sure that we're doing this sustainably, so reducing or beginning to close it sustainably, while the people still there living and are living. So I would say 2 things. But I think we should think about where our waste goes. Yeah. We do a lot of wish cycling. Wish cycling is when you put something in the bin, your waste collector comes, takes it, you don't know where it's going to end up.
Brilliant. Yeah. Now, here you're doing some amazing things. We do know that you have textile recycling happening. And of course, we also know that you have glass recycling happening. So maybe you can tell us a bit about both and how it's been. You know, have you managed to make a profit so far? Or you're just kind of trying to break even? Or what exactly are you doing to be able to sustain yourself in this industry?
Yeah. So, okay, so as I said, we run a solar-powered stitching station.
Okay.
And we upcycle textile waste to beautiful, beautiful things for homes and organization. And that came out of a need because of the overflow of second-hand stuff coming into the country.
Yes.
The challenge is, all these things coming in, they're not always pre-loved. I think that's what we don't know. They were not worn for so many times and then passed down to other people, like how we do with siblings, hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
That's the most...
But at the back of our minds, I feel like that's what we think.
Yeah.
But the reality is different, which is what you're highlighting. And I love that you're talking about this, because the truth is that even, for example, if you go to Gikomba or Mitumba, right, some of these clothes are not second-hand. They're brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are still all wish cycling. Just throw it, hoping it will end up somewhere nice. And even some of the clothes that come in here, or any sort of textile, it's not purposely supposed to be sold. It's donation, but we've made a business out of it. It's waste trade, which is fine, because that's another way of looking at waste as a resource. But we need to have better systems and policies on what comes in.
Okay.
Over 40% of what we receive in Kenya, textile, it cannot be used. It cannot be worn. It's not converted to something useful like what we do.
And that's a problem for us, because now we have a surplus of waste.
Yes. And you see it in Nairobi River.
Yes.
I've done many videos of textile flowing in Nairobi River. And that partly because everybody is trying to cut to make something of what we've received.
Yeah.
The challenge is even the rejects from factories, it's coming here. Some of the, because it's fast fashion, a lot of clothes are produced based on a certain trend. I'll give you an example. I bought a top for my daughter. It was written trick or treat. But it was not October yet, it was not Halloween yet. So which means it was already produced, already worn or not worn, rejected, shipped to Kenya. It's already waste. So even some of the things we celebrate, it's actually a source of waste.
Wow, interesting.
And in Kenya, to think that there is waste generated from Halloween in Kenya is excessive.
Yes.
Okay, so as I mentioned, my first thing is to tell stories.
Okay.
And I can only tell stories through offering things that are functional. So the stitching station is supposed to look at the waste that comes in.
Okay.
We have wonderful tailors that look at it and design what we could possibly make from that, and then they stitch. Amazing. Up to now, I think we've done over 1,000 tons of textile waste.
Wow, brilliant.
Sold in form of totes, oven mittens, bags. We're experimenting with many things. Lunchbox bags, because some of the things we make are supposed to make it easier for people to shift from single use. Okay. So, yeah. So that's the textile waste. And then we have the glass. For glass, we're working with Dandora women waste pickers to collect the glass. We pay above market rate to make sure that we are actually living the word. I think a lot of people emphasize on the environmental aspect of sustainability and forget the social, which is stronger. Without people who represent the social strand of sustainability, we have nothing. So fair pay, a living wage, is one of the things that we uphold so much. It's not just cleaning the environment, but also the process of cleaning. Okay. How are the people who collect treated? What are they paid? Where do they live? And that brings around an aspect of intersectional sustainability. I know it sounds so big, and there's no other way to put it, but it essentially means that we cannot address everything with a blanket method.
And I like that you've said that, because like even now, like having this conversation, I feel like there's so much more, but due to the interest of time, we'll have to cut this short because there's a lot to talk about. And thank you so much for giving us all these, I guess, insights when it comes to sustainability, when it comes to pollution, when it comes to recycling here in the country. There's so much that you know that I've learned today, and we really, really do appreciate these insights coming from someone who's been in this industry for a very long time. So thank you so much. We do hope that you can come back again and we can have this conversation again, because it's so important to continue having these conversations, not just a one-off, but like to consistently be talking about things that really just do affect not just us, you and I, but the entire world, the entire country, the entire earth. So yes, thank you so much once again, Nelly. We appreciate you. And we do hope that more people can come to GreenThink and buy from GreenThink. And maybe you can just, as we wrap up, talk about your social media handles so they know where to find you.
Yes. So we are available on greenthink.kenya and I'm forever storyteller. I'm available on nelly.gesare.
All right, and that's it from today's Green Warrior. Her name is Nelly Gesare. She is the founder of Green Thing, and I've learned a lot today. I hope you have too. As we continue having such conversations, we also do hope that you're also mindful about the current state of affairs when it comes to the waste production, when it comes to recycling, and just trying to live a sustainable life. So yes, I hope that challenges you to do something and to just try and recycle, if not anything else. That's it from us today. We'll see you next week right here on The Green Warriors. I am Shiksha Arora. What an interesting conversation right there with a phenomenal lady. Her name is Nelly Gesare, and she just really immersed me into her world, immersed me rather. I really felt very inspired by her and what she's doing and what her vision is. So I hope that you also support her, not just because it's a business, not just because that's a livelihood, but also because she is doing something for the environment. And when I say something, she's not just doing anything, she's doing something incredible, something that will help the future generations to come, because she is recycling glass. All right, with that, our big why tonight is something just based on that, glass recycling. How do you dispose of glass? Do you know how to dispose glass? Do you know the right way to do it? How do you do it? Well, talk to us on social media. Remember, at TV47 Kenya, that's how you can find us. You can also talk to us on WhatsApp. Do send us a message on the WhatsApp number that's going to be on your screen. You can also alternatively text us. You can find me as well at Shiksha Arora on Instagram, and talk to me and tell me, how do you dispose glass of? That's our big why. We'd love to get your feedback in on that particular question. But for now, let's take a look at what's happening with climate news. Now let's get to understand the seed litigation debate. The Seeds and Plant Varieties Act, that's of 2012, regulates seed transactions, including testing, certification and control of imports. The Act requires registration of persons growing crops for seed production or selling seeds. The law prohibits the sale of seeds that are deleterious, uncertified, or haven't undergone purity or germination tests. It provides for the grant of proprietary rights to persons breeding or discovering new plant varieties. Furthermore, selling uncertified seeds and not being a registered seed merchant can also result in a fine of up to 1 million shillings and or imprisonment of up to 2 years. Now, civil society groups including Greenpeace Africa, Kenya Peasants League and Biodiversity and Biosafety Association of Kenya, BAMBA, have Thursday lauded the Court of Appeal's decision temporarily halting the importation of genetically modified, that's GM crops, into Kenya. Now, according to them, the decision made on 7th of March this year provides for an opportunity to reassess the country's agricultural policies. This coming on the backdrop of the much anticipated game-changing seed litigation case that will define the future of farmer-managed seed systems across Kenya.
Hii mambo ya Seed Act inasema ya kwamba hatuwezi kubadilishana mbegu. Lakini tukiangalia kule mashinani pahali ambapo wakulima asili wanatokea, ni wale watu ambaye saa zingine hawana uwezo. Mkiangalia mnaona kama hizi mbegu ambaye zinatakikana tununue ni za bei ghali sana. Pia ni mbegu ya kupandwa tu mara moja, hauwezi tena kurudia tena kuipanda. Sasa inaonekana ni faida kwao, lakini ni hasara kwa wakulima. Kwa hivyo tunaomba hii mambo ya Seed Act waangalie vizuri, waiangaze vizuri.
True agricultural progress means strengthening what already works, and we already have a farmer management system. Why can't we support that? Why can't we empower our farmers? Why can't we do that so that we can be able to own our seeds and not let our seeds just be on a few corporations' hands? So as we are going towards May, we want to still call on the government. We want to call on all the stakeholders to please be on the lookout. You can be able to do one thing about food is it concerns all of us as Kenyans.
Told GMOs will solve hunger, but do they? Do they increase food access for people who go to bed hungry every night in the country? Do they make food more affordable for struggling families? No. No, we say again no. What they do is create a system where farmers are forced to buy seeds year after year, season after season, where our farmer-managed seed systems varieties are pushed aside and where our soils are soaked in toxic agrochemicals just to keep these crops alive. It is not about feeding Kenya, it is about controlling Kenya's food system.
Now on Friday, Kenya will join the world in commemorating the World Forest Day. The Kenya Forestry Service will be marking the day at Chepalungu Forest Block in Bomet County in what will see KFS and other government and private entities participate in the tree growing in different parts of the country. With the government intensifying its efforts to grow 15 billion trees by 2032, let us now take a look at how many have actually been planted so far by 5th of March 2025. The total trees grown was 751 million, with the public sector taking a lion's share of 536 million trees, while the private sector having planted 215 million trees. Aside from World Forestry Day, that's tomorrow, on Sunday, the world will be commemorating Meteorological Day on Sunday, as I said. And of course, the World Meteorological Organization's State of the Global Climate Report has stated that 2024 was confirmed to be the hottest since records began 175 years ago, beating the previous record in 2023. The report released yesterday shows that the oceans continue to warm and sea levels continue to rise. Further tropical cyclones, floods, droughts and other hazards in 2024 led to the highest number of new displacements recorded for the past 16 years, and it contributed to worsening food crisis and caused massive economic losses. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has now called upon leaders to seize the benefits of cheap, clean renewables for their people and economies. Just hear that again, 175 years of recording the temperature and of course the climate in the world. And 2024 happens to be the warmest, the hottest so far. If that doesn't, just scream for some sort of help, I don't know what will, but I'm glad that we're having such conversations here on Green Fix, because something needs to be done, and it starts with you and I. As we do know, climate change is real, and that right there is proof of that. Anyways, moving on, an oil spill in Esmeraldas, northwestern Ecuador, is spreading, contaminating water sources and endangering both wildlife and human health. Authorities have declared an environmental emergency in Esmeraldas province last Sunday as crude oil seeped into rivers and farmlands. According to the Ministry of Environment, Water and Ecological Transition, that's MATE, more than 8 kilometers of water have been affected, including areas in the Quininde and Esmeraldas cantons, causing unprecedented damage to wildlife refuge areas, affecting mangrove vegetation and its fauna. Local communities fear long-term health consequences, while environmentalists warn of irreversible damage to the fragile ecosystem. All right, that brings us to the end of tonight's live broadcast. I hope you enjoyed the stories that we had lined up for you because, as always, it's very important to note of the events and occurrences of what's happening in the world. So thank you so much for tuning in to Green Fix and, of course, the Daily Report. I am Shiksha Arora. We see you, we appreciate you, and, of course, it's always a pleasure keeping you informed, entertained, and educated on the world's occurrences and events happening, and of course state of affairs right here in the country as well. My name is Shiksha Arora. Our sign language interpreter has been Catherine Simaloy. I'll be doing this with you tomorrow, but in a different avatar, in a different outfit. It's all about Tribe 47. So make sure you make a date, 10 p.m. onwards. I'll be with you yet again right here only on TV47. Asante sana to the entire team behind the camera. Of course, that's Simon. We also have our very able director, that's Nick, and of course Charlie as well. So the entire team, as always, is ready to keep you informed every night, weekday, weekend, 9 p.m. onwards, only on TV47. That's it from me. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.